Float fishing is one of the most fun ways to catch pike. There's nothing more exciting than seeing a float just popping straight under or gradually sailing off as a lovely big pike takes your bait. But where do you start? Like if you're brand new, where do you start with float fishing? I'm going to do a very simple, very quick guide to show you how to set up the best pike float rig. It can be applied to all methods of coarse fish, you just change the weights, obviously smaller weights and a smaller float. But the method that I'm going to show you means that you don't have a fixed length between the float and the hook. You can actually adjust the depth of it by putting a little knot on the line and allowing it to slide through the float until the knot hits it, and that's where it stops. But I'll show you all that in a moment. So it's quite important to do all this in the right order, otherwise you'll mess it up. First thing you need is a bead, a little plastic bead with a hole through the middle, and you slide that on your line. I'm using braided line just because it's really strong, and for the equivalent diameter in monofilament line you get a lot more strength. So if you're fishing near snags and generally just the way things are these days with high quality braid being quite affordable, you should pretty much always be using braid. Next thing is to slide the most important bit on your float. So coloured end up, and choose one of these ones that has a channel through the middle of it. So you just thread the line through. So bead first, then float. Then you want to slide on a weight. Now this is probably far too light for where I'm fishing today because there is a flow, but I'll try it and see how it goes. And this is a little inline weight that has a channel through the middle of it as well, just makes things a lot easier. Then you can put a little buffer on, and then you want to put your trace and your terminal tackle on. So I'll stop the video for a second and reopen it again to show you that. So here's our little buffer, and you want to put that on with the narrow end facing the bottom of the float, and then this open end will go over the top part of the swivel on your terminal tackle. So here's my terminal tackle. It's a pair of semi-barbless size 8 hooks with these little keep your bait on plastic jobs that I might actually remove. Nice and tidy. Swivel on the end there, and that's the last thing that we tie on. So bead, float, weight, buffer, and then your trace. So this is a shot bot thing just to get me in the water. I'll footer about and make another trace, make a few of my own, tidy up some of my gear whenever I get in the water. So one in the tail, and then I'm going to put one in the flank. These are semi-barbless, that means that one of the hooks is barbed and the other two are not. You use the barbed hooks to stick your bait on so that it doesn't come off, and the barbless hooks, they're what go in your pike, hopefully. Now, not totally happy with that. That's a bit better. Alright, we will go for that. These little tags just help the bait stay on. And I will be chucking this out there near the eel weir because I believe that there's a couple of pike just sitting around waiting for something. So this is the perfect place to stick something, just a nice structure, and put your bait near it, and hopefully a pike will come out and grab it and swim off with it. So when you cast that in, the weight and the trace and your bait sink to the bottom. The line slides through the middle of the float, which stays on the surface, but what actually stops it at the depth you want is a knot that you tie on the line further up, and you can use this stuff which is called power gum, and I'll show you how to tie this line. You just cut a length of it off, double it over, tie it on the line, and then you can slide that knot up and down the line to adjust the depth at which you're fishing. It's a really useful way to see what depth the water actually is. If you put a big heavy weight on, then you can plumb the depth, and if the float sinks with it, then you know you're fishing too shallow, and you can move the knot up the line, and then you know if you're fishing too deep, and you can gradually gauge the depth. And also it's great just to have a setup that you can change the depth on. You know, if you're fishing deep and you're getting nothing, move it up a little bit, go a few feet shallower. Normally I think for pike, if I was fishing a still water, I would try and get it a couple of feet off the bottom, and the maximum I would go, I suppose, is 2/3 of the depth of the water that I'm fishing in. I tend not to get too much action whenever I fish very shallow. Of course, if you see lots of pike on the surface, you know, you can always shallow it up and whatnot. It's entirely up to you. So if you're not terribly confident about what float setup to use, what tackle to buy for your first float fishing foray, you can always get one of these sort of ready-made kits. This is a Lita 25-gram kit that I bought just in the interest of saving time. Normally I like to customize things and make my own rigs, but today I just wanted to have fun and get fishing, so I'm using one of these, and it might be a bit light for this flow, but sure, we'll cast it out and we'll see how it goes.